Hello friends, I hope you are well. Welcome back. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing and doing swatches on the MIKAYLAXGLAMLITE palette. Editing Val here. Wanted to quickly address, clearly this is a pre-recorded video. I filmed this right before we closed on our house. It was just a very hectic move. If you are new here, hi, my name is Valeria and I cover everything beauty and hair related, reviews, comparisons, tutorials, and all of that fun stuff from a consumer standpoint. So if you'd like to join in, make sure to subscribe. I post videos weekly. The packaging looks like this. It is just stunning. It's kind of like a window and it has some glitter on the inside. I need this shade in a pigment. It's so pretty. On the back, you have a breakdown of everything. It'll tell you the eyeshadows and the ingredients as well as the pressed pigments because it is a mix of pigments and eyeshadows. The palette itself comes with a full-size mirror. Really good quality one at that. Clearly all the real estate is used. The layout is top-notch, kind of eases you into color, right? So it starts with the neutrals, moves on to the bolder shades. I will be doing a brush swatch as well as finger swatch. Like I said, it's really important for this particular palette because some of them just apply better with your fingers. But if you want to know more about these colors, formula, and just see some swatches in natural light, then keep watching. Starting off with the packaging, clearly gorgeous. I still believe that this should be made into a shade in itself. And here is the array of colors. The layout is very well thought out. You can clearly see the warm brown hues moving into the cool tones and into the brights. As a heads up, I do have my kids here with me, so you're gonna hear some running around. On the first row, we start with Harley. This is a cool tone matte light brown, and this is kind of the only cool blending shade. Next we have How You Doin'. This is a mid-tone matte brown, so not too dark or too light. This can be used as a transition with warm or cool tones. Next we have Gemini. This is a light caramel matte. There's not very many transition shades in the palette. I wish there were a few more lighter shades, but moving on. Next we have What's Poppin'. This is a vintage bronzy gold with iridescent green sparkles, and the metallic shades do end up applying better with your fingers. You can definitely use a brush, you still get some good payoff, but the best payoff is with your fingers. Next is Hot Cocoa. This is kind of like a burnt orange. It's a mid-tone matte. I would say this is a great shade to warm up the crease. The last one for the first row is Willow. This is a dark matte purple brown, clearly a cool tone and a really great shade if you want to do like a matte smoky eye. Moving on to the second row, first up is Glow Up. This is just the most beautiful rose gold shade. Depending on how the light hits it, it kind of looks like a pale gold and it shifts with like duochrome sparkles. Super pretty. Next we have Simba. This is a coral mid-tone matte shade. Next we have Accent. This is a metallic warm copper shade. Depending on how the light hits it, it can look like kind of like orangey, like a pale orange. Here I'm comparing it to Glow Up. Clearly Accent is more warm tone. Glow Up does have like a duochrome sheen. Now we have Buffalo Chicken. This is a matte orange shade. The mattes apply better with a brush. Next we have Manifest. This is a metallic purple with silver and purple shimmers throughout. It can take like a lavender shift to it depending on how the light hits it. As you can see in lower light, it just looks like a taupey purple shade. Now we have Cookie. This is a metallic chocolate brown with gold and purple sparkles throughout. I know sometimes the camera doesn't pick up the sparkles. It looks like a dark bronzy shade in lower light, but when the light hits it, you can really see those gold and purple sparkles. Moving on to the third row, first one is Iconic. This is a matte Barbie neon pink. I think the intensity of this kind of left me wanting more. Clearly very bright, but you do have to build up the shade. Next we have Simping. This is a light metallic baby pink with a silver shift. Moving on to Immaculate. This is a warm metallic purple with cool tone purple and silver sparkles. This shade reminds me a lot of a Wet n Wild lipstick that was popular back in the day. Next we have MJ. This is a matte lavender. Not really my favorite. It's a little bit patchy. You have to build up the shade. A lot of the pastel looking colors, they're not the best. On to New Beige. This is a metallic royal purple with silvery blue shift. Now comparing this to Immaculate, there is a difference. It's just very slight. Immaculate is more warm tone. New Beige is more cool tone. The last one for the third row is Nas. It's an iridescent silvery blue. This is kind of a complex shade because when the light is hitting it, it looks silver, but in lower light, it can kind of look like a pale greenish shade. It has iridescent sparkles throughout, so a very cool looking shade. Fourth row, first up, we have the best color. This is a matte, kind of neon looking mint. You do have to build the shade up, and I feel like that's the case across the board with all of the mattes. Next we have Bonehead. This is a metallic emerald green with golden sparkles. Now we have Stunnin. This is a metallic vintage looking gold with an olive tone sheen. On to Portagee. This is a metallic mid to dark purple. It depends on the lighting. It has pink and blue shimmers throughout. Very cool looking shade, but it only works if you apply it with your fingers. As you can see, it's seriously lacking applied with a brush. Next we have Paht Two. This is a matte, bright, almost neon purple. I love the color, but as you can see, it is a little bit patchy. You kind of had to pack it on to make sure that it is opaque. Last one for the fourth row, this is Rhody, a matte, bright electric blue. I actually really like the shade. I didn't find it to be patchy, so pretty. Now for the last row, first up is Audrey. This is a metallic mermaid turquoise blue with flecks of silver. So beautiful. I love this shade. When the light hits it, it looks like a light, shimmery mermaid color. On lower light, you can see it kind of looks more teal. Next we have Freetown. This is a matte, intense teal. I really like the payoff of this one. It builds up really nicely and it's not patchy. Now we have Loop. This is a matte, light olive green. This one was great to work with. Again, very pigmented. Now we have Handy. This is a matte canary yellow. This is one of the shades that I used in my previous tutorial. A very fun yellow to work with because it's not intimidating. It's kind of like a muted yellow. Next we have Frisky. This is a matte grape, kind of mauvey purple, very pigmented, and one of my favorite mattes in the palette. And lastly we have Masshole. This is a matte royal blue, not my favorite shade. This is probably the worst matte in the palette. It just wasn't what I expected, definitely lacking a lot of pigment. Overall, I really like the palette and I do still recommend it. You get a lot to work with, even though the mattes aren't the best. But if you guys have tried this palette, share your comments down below. Let me know what you think. That's it for today's video on the Mikayla palette. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked it, make sure to share and leave me a comment down below on what color scheme you'd like to see from this palette. There is a lot to work with. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.